In this lesson, we are going to see why we learned completing the square. One of the reasons we did that is because when we complete the square, that's how we put things into vertex form. And I'm going to ask that you do know how to do this. So I won't make you use completing the square to actually solve quadratic equations, but you do need to know how to use it for putting things in vertex form because that makes life a lot easier sometimes. So to start, this is a little bit different than what we did the other day. When we did completing the square, you would have seen this and then an equals 0. So you just have to realize that now it has y equals instead of that. And we're going to go ahead and still move the constant to the other side. It just happens to be the left side this time. So I would have y plus 5 plus blank equals x squared plus 8x plus blank. If you remember, to find our blank, we take b over 2 squared. Our b value for this problem is 8. So I have 8 divided by 2. If you're not sure, let me just show you where I got that. Sorry. There's where the 8 came from, right there. Remember, this is a, b, and then our c we moved over, so we're giving ourselves a new c. So 8 divided by 2 squared. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 squared would be 16. So I'm going to put a 16 in this blank, and on the other side, since I added 16 to one side, I'd add 16 to the other. So now I go ahead and add 5 and 16. I get y plus 21 equals, and I can factor this. Factors of 16 when added together make 8, 4, and 4. Then, to get it completely in vertex form, we're not solving here, remember, we're just getting into vertex form. So I would minus 21 from both sides, and have y equals x plus 4 quantity squared minus 21. So now if I was asked to name the vertex, which I am, right? My vertex here, I have my a value right here, it's 1. Here's my h, and here's my k. So my vertex would be negative 4, negative 21. Axis of symmetry would be x equals negative 4. My direction of opening, since a is positive, I open up, and my a value is 1. Excuse me, we could graph this, but we don't need to because we've done lots of those, so we're not going to go ahead and graph these, but we could if we had graph paper, and this one would be a little bit of a pain just because it's at negative 21. So let's try the next one. That's kind of a basic one. Number 5, same idea. I'm going to add 1 to both sides to move that constant over. So I have y plus 1 plus blank equals. Now, maybe you noticed this, maybe you didn't. But remember, when our a value is something other than 1, we need to factor that out. So this is gone on this side. I'm going to divide both of those terms by negative 3. So I'd have x squared minus 2x. And then I'm going to put the plus blank in there. If you're thinking where this comes from, this negative 3 is going to play a big role in our problem. So there's a reason that negative 3 was there. When I find my blank, I remember I take b divided by 2 squared. My b value for this problem is right here. It's negative 2. So I have negative 2 divided by 2 squared, which is negative 1 squared, which we'll hopefully realize we get a 1. Now remember, I don't put a 1 on the other side because this negative 3 would be distributed by this 1. So I have actually added to this side a negative 3, which is what I add to the other side then. I have to add the same exact value. It won't always look like the same number, but I have to add the same value to keep that equation balanced. So now as I add on my left side, I would have y minus 2 equals, and I have this negative 3 here, and I'm going to go ahead and factor. Factors of 1 when added together make negative 2. It would be negative 1 and negative 1. So now, last step would be to add 2 to both sides. So my equation vertex form is y equals 3 times x minus 1 squared plus 2. Hopefully you see that role that 3 plays. That's actually my a value. So when we have to factor out that number, that's going to end up being your a value all the time. And then here's my h and my k. So my vertex would be 1, 2. My axis of symmetry is x equals 1. Direction of opening is up because my a value is 3. I'd like you guys to try number 6. Pause the video, see how far you can get, and then you can check as you're working on it with my work. Number 6, I will move my constant over first, just like I have in every other problem. Y minus 2 plus blank equals, and then hopefully you notice that negative 2 there. So I would divide both terms by negative 2 and get x squared plus 2x plus blank. Again, I take b over 2 squared, which is 2 over 2 squared, which is 1 squared. So my blank, I get a 1, and then remember we're distributing here. So negative 2 times 1 would be negative 2. Now, I go ahead and add these numbers together. Y minus 2 plus a negative 2 would be y minus 4. Keep my negative 2 here, and I'm going to factor. Factors of 1 when added together make 2 are 1 and 1. And that would be, since I get the same thing twice, it would be x plus 1 quantity squared. My last step then is to add 4 to both sides. So I have y equals negative 2 times x plus 1 quantity squared plus 4. When asked to find the vertex and a values then, remember my a is right here, there's my h, there's my k. So my vertex is negative 1, 4. My axis of symmetry would be x equals negative 1. My parabola is going down because my a value is negative 2. Hopefully that seems a lot easier probably than our other completing the square we did, because now we kind of have a purpose to it. You see why you'd want to get it in this form, because it's really nice to graph from here. And they won't be terrible, horrible, nasty fractions like some of the other ones we've done.